Good morning, everyone, and welcome to GEO News Network, also known as GNN. I'm Bonnie Ste-Croix, and I'm GNN's CEO, where our exceptional team works hard every day to bring you the stories that matter. Today, we'll be providing you with an insider's look at everyone's favorite digital inclusion nonprofit, GEO Nova Scotia. This GNN special report provides you with a walk through heartfelt stories, startling data, and a look at what's ahead, all of which is part of GEO Nova Scotia's fourth annual report. We'll answer important questions like, what's GEO been up to for the past year? What's coming next? And how can you get involved? The unique aspect of this coverage includes what's come to be known simply as the show, which I can confidently say will be our most watched show of the year. And yes, our only show of the year. Well, I would love to do nothing more than to thank each and every person who has helped make this year so special. There are hundreds of you, and that would take far too long. What I can say, everything GEO accomplishes, we do in partnership with people in community, in government, and in business. And together, we're doing things in Nova Scotia that other jurisdictions are pretty envious about. So thank you all for being here with us now. Thank you for your work and your contributions and for everything yet to come. We could not do it without you. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, on with the show.
This is a GNN special report.
Hello, and welcome to this GEO News Network special report. I'm Matt Spurway, broadcasting live from the GEO News Network newsroom with the GEO News Network news team to tell you about the year that was 2025-2026 for GEO Nova Scotia. Together, we'll look back at a year of impact, growth, and evolution, and look ahead to more exciting developments here in Nova Scotia and beyond. And here are the year's top stories. A number of breakthroughs in revenue diversification has GEO Nova Scotia well positioned for the future. A new and improved crisis mobile program is expected to support hundreds of individuals experiencing homelessness and gender-based violence. And long-range forecasts predict a bright future for Nova Scotia and other jurisdictions that embed digital inclusion programs into their wider digital transformation strategies. But first, let's go to the headlines. GEO Nova Scotia served a record number of people in 2025-26 through its programs, including the Crisis Mobile Program, the Youth AAC program, and GEO's flagship program, GEO Connects. In that year, a total of 5,313 unique households received some amount of free connectivity via home internet or a mobile plan, and or one or more free devices such as a Chromebook, smartphone, or iPad. The households served last year are all across the province, with approximately half coming from HRM. Together, they represent over 11,000 Nova Scotians whose lives have been impacted by GEO in 2025-26. The information collected last year shows a diversity of program participants with different experiences and challenges. Over 35% identify as living with a disability, 30% are lone parent households, and more than 40% represent either African Nova Scotian, Indigenous, or newcomer households. More than half self-report as experiencing housing insecurity or homelessness, and 7% report as being 2S LGBTQIA+. Nearly 60% of GEO's participants are women, and English was the primary language of 86% of participants. In terms of value, 2025-2026 was also a record-setting year for GEO. 2,983 devices were distributed with a total value of more than $1.3 million. Smartphones were the most popular, with 1,342 going out, valued at just under $470,000. Followed by Chromebooks and headset combo, with 995 going out last year, valued at almost $550,000. iPads, apps, and laptops made up the remainder of devices. Connectivity for the year was incredible. Overall, 4,783 connections were supported, providing a grand total of 26,696 months of internet and 19,940 months of mobile service. That is more than 3,886 years of connectivity. Outstanding. Those are your headlines. We now go live to our senior correspondent, Eilish Bonang-Smith, who is standing by with a special segment on the GEO Nova Scotia program that is helping people across Nova Scotia in crisis stay connected. Eilish?
That's right, Matt. For most of us, using a cell phone every day is something we don't think twice about. But for some Nova Scotians who may be experiencing homelessness or fleeing gender-based violence, having a working cell phone could mean the difference between getting help or facing a crisis alone. In today's world, a cell phone is no longer a luxury. It's a necessity. It's how people access healthcare, apply for benefits, search for housing, and stay connected with their loved ones.
Everybody needs a phone at this stage of life. Like, you need it for doctors, you need it for housing, you need it for your meds, you need it for everything. I mean, you can't get into a shelter without one, right? Because you need to call them and reserve the bed and then get there in 2 hours.
Millie McKinnell is a social worker and health case manager with Mobile Outreach Street Health, or MOSH. She works directly with people experiencing homelessness and intimate partner violence and says staying connected can be critical for those trying to access support.
I work a lot with pregnant, unhoused women and gender diverse folks, and also a lot of trafficking survivors and people who are currently in it as well. So phones for that has honestly been like the biggest tool.
But oftentimes those living in crisis don't have access to that tool.
Cell phones are super expensive. Like, they're an off the bat super expensive purchase, and then having monthly charges is something that a lot of my clients can't really keep on top of at this stage in their life. Another thing often actually is age. We're getting more and more seniors who are homeless because of the lack of supports and the lack of appropriate housing. A lot of them have not used that technology, especially if they have a long history of homelessness. Like, they likely have not been like keeping up to date with technology to be able to even understand like how to use a phone or how to get one, or what's the SIM card, how do I put minutes on it, like stuff like that.
GEO Nova Scotia's Crisis Mobile program works to lessen some of those burdens. Free mobile phones are provided to individuals experiencing urgent crisis situations through a network of more than 60 partner organizations across the province. The devices come ready to use with a SIM card, a month of service, and immediate activation.
Prior to kind of GEO stepping in, the way I was running it was entirely based on donations. So people just kind of know that Mosh collects used phones. So I got 30 to 50-ish dropped off. So then having GEO step in and actually have like the infrastructure behind it, the like resources and the support has been like a game changer, honestly.
McKenna recalls providing a phone to a client who was pregnant, experiencing homelessness, and being trafficked.
I was able to like really start building rapport with her. We were able to come up with like schedules for her appointments, got her properly sheltered, different resources, stuff like that. And then also just like the benefit of being able to call 911 is she did actually call 911 a couple times using that phone, and don't think she would have otherwise.
She says the phones opened doors to services that had previously been out of reach to many of her clients.
She used the phone to find literally every resource under the sun. Like, she got herself on so many different wait lists, housing lists, like healthcare, different financial support. She applied for different benefits and stuff. And this was all because she had the motivation, she just needed the tools and the support to be able to make it happen.
In December, GEO Nova Scotia hosted its first annual phone drive, collecting more than 1,000 donated cell phones. Those devices will be refurbished and distributed through the Crisis Mobile program.
I'm almost never giving people good news, I would say, in this work. Like, it's a lot of losses before you get any wins. So having something tangible that like I know my client needs and will benefit from, it's definitely like heartwarming.
Matt, Millie McKinnell tells me that though she's only been part of the Crisis Mobile program for a short time so far, she's already handed out 16 cell phones to those in need, proving that this program is changing lives, one device at a time. Back to you.
Wow. Thank you, Eilish. That is really amazing. In financial news, GEO Nova Scotia's 2025-2026 fiscal year was marked by increased demand for program spending and a promising increase in the diversity of revenue that GEO Nova Scotia is developing. Here to tell us more is our Chief Economic Correspondent, Michael Sime. Mike?
Thanks, Matt. Overall, GEO benefited from just over $4.3 million in revenue in 25-26 fiscal year, with funding opportunities from the Department of Opportunities and Social Development making up the lion's share at just under 90%. 25-26 was GEO Nova Scotia's most challenging financial year to date. A growing number of legacy participants from previous years, combined with a surge in demand early in the fiscal year, saw GEO Nova Scotia rely on reserves in order to maintain a reasonable level of program delivery, while key internal transformations could take place. These transformations included new revenue from device sales to other nonprofits, new grants to support specific initiatives, the receipt of over 1,000 donated mobile phones, and, most importantly, a graduation process for those legacy program participants who have received more than 12 months of free internet connectivity. But let's take a look at each one individually. Sales to other nonprofits came through a new initiative launched in 2025 called GEO for Nonprofits, a social enterprise designed to help community organizations across Nova Scotia access more affordable technology and connectivity. Additional revenue from targeted grants also gave a boost to GEO Nova Scotia's bottom line, beginning with a big vote of confidence from the Nova Scotia Office for the Status of Women, who contributed an additional $100,000 towards GEO's Crisis Mobile program and a pilot program for women experiencing gender-based violence who are also living with a disability. This is currently underway. The Public Good Society of Dartmouth came through in a big way last year with almost $70,000 in grants that helped fund the Youth AAC program. The Department of Labor, Skills and Immigration provided over $37,000 last year to fund the development of an online digital skills guide for Nova Scotia Works staff. The Community Foundation of Nova Scotia granted $10,000 to GEO to support the mobile phone donation drive in December, which collected mobile phones that are being used for the Crisis Mobile program. And the Mental Health Foundation of Nova Scotia increased their grant to GEO from the previous year to over $7,000 to cover the printing and distribution of thousands of additional e-mental health booklets. Speaking of the mobile phone drive, thanks to a long list of community partners who served as drop-off locations, which included almost every provincial MLA office across Nova Scotia, hundreds of used mobile phones were donated to GEO during their first ever phone drive, which was held over the holiday season. A special shout out to Eastlink for giving the campaign a huge boost by donating hundreds more phones, bringing the grant total to more than 1,000 donated mobile phones. Finally, and perhaps most exciting, is the development and launch of GEO's program graduation process. In 25-26, GEO graduated over 1,500 legacy participants who had benefited from free internet for more than a year. Each participant was invited into a conversation about what came next. For some, it meant taking over full responsibility for their internet connection at a special reduced alumni rate agreed to by our internet service partners. For others who could not afford this rate, it meant enrollment in a subsidized plan. Hundreds of those households are now independently paying for their own account through the special alumni rate, and hundreds more are contributing a portion of the cost through the subsidized plan. This is an important milestone that reflects both the increased stability for participants and the long-term financial stability of GEO's programming. There's one more highlight we need to look at. Beyond direct financial contributions, GEO's work would be impossible without the contributions of hundreds of people and organizations across the province and the incredible services and deep discounts provided by businesses. Overall, the estimated combined value contributed from the community sector and the private sector exceeded $1.85 million in the previous fiscal year, 25-26, representing a whopping 30% of the overall contributions and dramatically increasing the number of people who can be served with the funding available. The bottom line, GEO Nova Scotia is well positioned for a year of steady and sustainable growth. Matt, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. Now we're going to head to the red carpet for a report on the 2025 Nova Scotia Digital Inclusion Awards. Here to tell us all about it is our Senior Entertainment Correspondent, Josie Lake. Josie?
Thanks, Matt. In October 2025, GEO Nova Scotia hosted their second annual GEO Forum, a one-day hybrid conference that saw almost 500 registered attendees, with speakers, panelists, and partners all coming together to share insights and experiences, highlighting the growing momentum for digital inclusion across the province. The forum was extra special last year as it opened with a presentation by the Honourable Jill Balzer, Minister of Cybersecurity and Digital Solutions, declaring Digital Inclusion Week in Nova Scotia, a first among Canadian provinces.
I, Jill Balzer, on behalf of Tim Houston, Premier of Nova Scotia, do hereby proclaim October 6th to 10th, 2025 as Digital Inclusion Week in the province of Nova Scotia, and encourage all citizens to recognize the importance of digital equity and inclusion.
That same day in downtown Halifax, more than 100 people gathered for lunch to celebrate the 2025 Nova Scotia Digital Inclusion Awards, recognizing the individuals, organizations, and partnerships working towards digital equity in communities throughout Nova Scotia. The event highlighted the power of collaboration, local leadership, and the collective effort behind digital inclusion for all. And what a lineup of winners. The Community Champion of the Year was Colchester Adult Learning Association. The GEO Referral Agent of the Year was Grace Reynolds from FutureWorks. The Program Partnership of the Year was Empower Canada. The Government Champion of the Year was Nova Scotia Status of Women Office. And the Business Champion of the Year was Data Guide Technologies. Congratulations to all of the finalists and the winners. Award nominations for this year will be opening soon. Finally, the awards ceremony also took time to recognize Sandra McKenzie for her leadership promoting the cause of digital inclusion and her foundational role in starting GEO Nova Scotia, making her the inaugural inductee in the Nova Scotia Digital Inclusion Hall of Fame. Back to you, Matt.
Thank you, Josie. And now for our second field report of the night, we go back to our Senior Correspondent Eilish Bonang-Smith for a report on one of GEO Nova Scotia's most inspiring programs of the past year. Eilish?
Matt, for some, communicating with friends, family, teachers, it's second nature. But for others, expressing their thoughts, their feelings, their needs, it can require specialized tools that aren't always easy to come by. But that's exactly where GEO Nova Scotia's Youth AAC program comes in. Communication is a fundamental part of daily life. From asking a question in class to sharing a joke with friends, the ability to communicate helps shape how we connect with the world around us. But what happens when communication doesn't come easy?
And I can't imagine how frustrating it must be for some of our clients that have so much that they want to say, but they don't have a way to say that.
The kids who come in tend to be very creative in finding ways to express themselves, but without the necessary supports, there really are limits to what can be communicated without speaking.
Augmentative and alternative communication software installed on speech-generating devices like iPads can give a voice to individuals who cannot speak or have difficulty speaking.
And SGDs are any device that people use to communicate that has a voice output. So you enter what you want to say, and there's a synthesized voice that will speak it.
That was so cool. I love it.
Megan McDonald and Megan Chisholm are both speech-language pathologists with Hearing and Speech Nova Scotia. They say having access to this type of technology can be life-changing.
For the families that I work with, having an SGD can mean that their child can communicate more around their needs and daily routines. So things like letting their parent know what story they want at bedtime, or letting their parent know what it is that they'd like to eat for snack, telling their teacher when they need to use the washroom at school. And having an SGD can also mean children can communicate to build social connections, things like saying hi to a friend or sharing a thought about their favorite video game or making a joke.
And when communication supports are available early, the impact can last a lifetime.
A lot of the clients we work with often have different ways of communicating. They use gestures, they use sounds, they might use some signs, but then these talkers too allow them to be really specific with their wants and needs. They also allow them to put words together to make sentences too, so they can really richly express their ideas. And especially as they move through life too, this gives them a way to continue to kind of meet them where they're at right now, but also the system can grow with them over time so that they can continue building on their communication skills.
Despite the technology having such a positive impact on users, there are still a number of barriers families face when trying to access it.
These high-tech devices come at a considerable cost. And so there's a lot of work to navigate funding options for families, and a lot of families too, there are no funding options available for some families as well. So that cost and access is one of the biggest barriers.
To help remove that barrier, GEO Nova Scotia, with funding support from the Public Good Society of Dartmouth, partnered with Hearing and Speech Nova Scotia and Schools Plus to provide free AAC technology to youth across the province. Throughout the 2025-26 fiscal year, the partnership distributed 171 iPads and 143 specialized AAC apps to help young people find their voice.
This program has just been so much of a game changer for the clients we work with, for my colleagues too. Like it has been, it's been like such a great way to get access to these devices and really set our clients up for success. And it literally has given them voices that they might otherwise not have been able to have.
Communication is a right, not a privilege. So everyone has a right to have what they need to communicate, whether they're a child or an adult, no matter where they live or what their socioeconomic background. And I think that's something that GEO Nova Scotia is helping us to support.
Well, Matt, there you have it. For the people and the families who are supported through GEO Nova Scotia's Youth AAC program, communication is about so much more than just a device or an app. It's about connection, independence, and ensuring that every young person has the chance to be heard. Back to you.
Incredible work, Eilish. You know, if you ever wanted to do something different, you might consider a career in broadcast journalism. Next up, what does the future hold for GEO Nova Scotia? We'll get the long-range forecast from our very own Editor-in-Chief, Bonnie St-Croix. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Tired of just watching the headlines? Why not help write them? GEO Nova Scotia is looking for bold, community-minded leaders from across the province and across sectors to join the team as a volunteer on our board of directors. If you're passionate about digital inclusion and want to help build a more connected Nova Scotia, this may be the opportunity for you. Help us turn challenges into breakthroughs and shape the future of digital equity. Interested? Visit geonovascotia.ca to learn more. Let's make a difference together.
We're back, and here now with our beloved CEO, Bonnie St-Croix, with a look at the long-range forecast. Bonnie?
Thank you, Matt. We all know when you're looking at a forecast for Nova Scotia, you have to be ready for anything. And this year, GEO was. The 2025-2026 fiscal year saw the highest demand for GEO services in our history. While this clearly demonstrates the essential nature of digital access, it required a great deal of agility to manage the increases within our resource capacity. So I feel an additional layer of pride as I look back at the year, at how our whole team came together, how our partners supported the work, and at what we collectively accomplished. As we look ahead this year, the future is bright, with fewer cloudy periods as we've implemented new approaches that enable us to better manage demand through our 4 seasons of service provision, and we're aiming for blue skies, but we're ready for anything. A few major events we're tracking in the near future include this year's Digital Inclusion Week, the 2026 GEO Forum, and the Nova Scotia Digital Inclusion Awards. With GEO's new strategic plan, strengthening our foundation, expanding our impact, we're moving forward with an emphasis on strengthening internal practices and deepening our reach. Our plan facilitates a clear path forward, furthering our transition from startup to a structured and scalable organization with streamlined processes, program evolution, while still remaining grounded in the foundation we've built together. We're also digging into research more and reaching out across Canada and to other parts of the world to see how they're tracking similar issues so we can learn from each other. We're paying close attention to the growing body of research that emphasizes digital access as having a most critical role in addressing the social determinants of health and economic inclusion. So GEO's team sees every day that when people have access to affordable internet, to devices, and the skills they need, they can find jobs, they can access healthcare, reconnect with friends and family, and they can complete their education or training. As we look ahead, we're excited to work with our partners to discuss ideas that can further our shared goals of digital equity and continue to evolve our programs to improve outcomes. Our long-range forecast includes continued trends in efficiencies, collaborative efforts, the aim to reach our record high, and a persistent periods of innovation, of course, mixed with laughter. Before I walk off into the sunset, I need to express the incredible gratitude our entire GEO team has for all of the people who collaborate with us to support Nova Scotians. Together, we've reached more than 8,000 unique households. We're so grateful for the compassion and expertise to contribute towards what we've built together. Our success this year belongs to our dedicated partners, our relentless and unfaltering staff team, a diligent board of directors, and a shared, unwavering commitment to GEO's mission. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. Back over to you, Matt.
Thank you, Bonnie. In other news, GEO's 2 Insight Forums in 2025 were well received. From exploring the UK's approach to digital equity to lessons shared across the Atlantic, these virtual panel discussions help connect Nova Scotia to broader conversations about digital inclusion. And finally, GEO Nova Scotia's 2025-2026 annual report has just been released. Featuring the superb design work of Dean Gallant and Pinwheel Designs, the report provides additional details on the year and testimonials from partners and participants. The report is available online at geonovascotia.ca. Well, that's our broadcast for this year. Signing off on behalf of the entire newsroom at GNN, I'm Matt Spurway. Thank you all for tuning in and for your continued support. Stay connected and stay inspired.
This is a GNN special report.